So while talking about the deep learning in AI, what we are going to do with is we will have some related things of what AI is basically, and that's why I have said you should watch one of the video also, which I mentioned. Then I talked about how we will have a deep learning models. What is the basic idea behind that? And after that we will have a live coding problem, a very small problem, but it is interesting. So that problem also I will share with you, and you can all have the code also of it. So both the things will happen together. So let's start the session immediately, and let's see what the AI means first. So before that, let me introduce myself. Myself Anup Kelkar. I have done my engineering from VNIT. That time it was VRC, and done MTech also from the VNIT. I have nearly 18 years of experience in the field of data analysis, database, and project management. And I have done engineering from VNIT. While doing that, I have come contact with the data analysis and AI field, and I continued my journey there. So that is also going on. Currently, I am running my academy, Python Academy, in Nagpur itself, and I am also an Oracle database satisfied administrator. Okay, so let's move on. I think on YouTube side, just a minute. Okay, on YouTube side, streaming is not going in. So just a minute. So give me a minute. Okay, so now everything is fine. So on YouTube side, are you able to see the screen properly? All of you. Currently, the biodata screen is there. Raja Boyer, are you able to see the screen of Anup Jain Kelkar? Okay, then it is fine. Okay, good. So from both the end, we are very fine. So continuing the introduction side. Okay, so I have just said what about I am, and let's start the contents of the today's session. So we will have a basic idea about what is an artificial intelligence is, how we are going to deal with the AI, because basically how AI works, that is also an one of the major point to be understandable. And then we will have a deep learning understanding. What is this deep learning is? After that we will see the techniques which are basically used for the uh, deep learning, that also basically we will see. And then we will have the live coding demo. Okay, so all this part we are going to see one by one, and that is the way we are going to study this part. Okay, so let's start with the first angle of what is AI is. Okay, so that is something correlated which we already seen in the last also. Okay, so basically artificial intelligence is the science of training systems to emulate human tasks through learning and automation. So basically it is a very simple definition if you just read about, but it is again difficult to understand. Okay, so when I say artificial intelligence is a science of training systems, so we train the systems using AI. So training a system is again not a very simple task. Okay, it requires lot of things to be understandable, lot of things to be known for. So if we provide it properly, then only the systems will learn. So learning the system is basically done using the artificial intelligence algorithms, which is called basically machine learning algorithm. So what is machine learning algorithms? Machine learning algorithms are nothing but the mathematical formulas. Okay, so these are the formulas which generally we use for the understanding purpose. So these mathematical formulas which we will use have many options, like there may be a linear regression, there may be a something like KNN, that is called K nearest neighborhood. Then there are other methods like neural network, and on top of that, deep neural network. Okay, so many algorithms are available which works with this artificial intelligence, and on that basis, actually the AI is based. Again, AI is a big stream. Okay, means it is a specially, I can say, a separate total science or total subject. Inside that, we can think of data analytics as a part of it. Inside data analytics, we come with the third part, machine learning, and inside that is the deep learning. Okay, so if I just draw a diagram of, say, Venn diagram one inside another, you will get the idea how it looks like. So when I talk about, it is a science which trains the system to emulate the human task through learning and automation. So in that, we know the machine need to understand the context, how it is used, learn the patterns from the inputs. Input is nothing but the past. Okay, through past, it has to understand how to go ahead and then recognize the object. Okay, so these are the different ways we can use the AI. Now, talking about the detail of how this works, the evaluation of artificial intelligence has started from very basic thing, and it is an old branch, you can say. Means it is not a very latest that people have started using it. It is an old branch. A lot of people are using that beforehand. Okay, so many people are using that in 1950 with neural network model. In basically, it is called a perceptron. Okay, so they started working with the perceptron method. Once they have some output, in between there was the lag period, because many people are not easily able to understand that model or change their weights, and then comes the era of back propagation. So when back propagation started, it was nearly 1980 and 2010, where machine learning algorithms are in boom. They started growing rapidly, and as they started growing rapidly, the present era has comes with the deep learning cognitive system, which are very highly GPU consuming or CPU consuming, but yes, they provide a very excellent results also. That is also there. So when we talk about the artificial intelligence, how basically it works, that is again an idea you should know about. So how we can utilize them, how you can talk about. The first two three slides which I am discussing are also part of the older one. So those who haven't joined or subscribed to our YouTube channel, do subscribe there, so you will have whole idea of how the things were working there. Okay, so you will also have the same idea using the whatever the things we have done. Okay, that and that is the way we can go ahead. We can go ahead for the next one. Okay, so going back to the thing, how the artificial intelligence work. So basically, what are, when we talk about we as humans and machines good at? Okay, and obviously we are good at common sense. Obviously, everyone should have that common sense, and yes, everyone has that. Intuition. When I talk about intuition, it is the method, I can say I can understand. Okay, this may happen or this may. That is a kind of intuition we have. Then the creativity. Yes, we have the creativity. We have the empathy, and we have the versatility. Means it is not a each person is just a machine created, works very similar. No, we have different ideas, we have the different ways of doing that. Whereas machine, where they are good at large data sets. Okay, we as in we may not be a Shakuntala Devi, right? We may be knowing all of the things. Yes, we have some limitation, but machine cannot. They can store many things. Okay, so they have the large data set. Complex calculation, yes, we also can do complex calculation, but we will require more time, we will need more writing or some other thing. Whereas in your machine, it can be very fast. So that is another thing. The learning process which we have started, and has the automation. So automation is also useful to go ahead with. So all this thing, when we combine, we get with what is called the AI. So we have the combination of us, whatever we are, and the machines together. So AI enhances our capability and gives organizations a competitive advantage, and that is the best thing. Why each and every organization? It is not only a software industry; it may be any field, and that's why I suggest all my students. You may be from electronics, maybe from mechanical, maybe from any background. Don't worry about that. Make sure you have a very good understanding of what current what current things you can do ahead, and you can go ahead with that. Okay, so that is the way we can go ahead. So okay, so I have got message on Pushkar Jane. So those who are facing the problem, ask them to join the YouTube channel. So there it is going live, so they can go ahead with that also. Okay, so it should not be the case, because we have here not 100 point reach, so they are must be making some mistake with that link. Okay, so just try out, sir, Pushkar sir, and if they are facing any error, just jump on to the YouTube channel. That is also no problem. Okay, so as I was mentioning, that even if you are from any branch, there are lot of opportunities as an data analyst for you. So you can think this as the future, as having a skill of whatever branch you are in, and the data analytics both together. Okay, when you combine both together, you have a very better chance to work in, because every industry, maybe an electric manufacturing, maybe some mechanical automations, or maybe some healthcare, everyone has the data, and it is in binary format, it may be in Excel sheet, and they want to analyze. There may have a lot of images with them, so that also way they can utilize this data for different purposes. Okay, so that is the way you can go ahead. Yes, I am getting a lot of things, that electrical, civil branch. So everyone, as I said, you should have a very good understanding of what data analytics is. That is the first thing. The second thing, at least you should have a basic idea of programming, and that I suggest you go with the Python, because it is very easy to understand. It is not like a complicated C++. So if you have the combination of all this with some kind of tools which works in your particular branch, it will be easy for you to go ahead. Okay, so that is the way AI works. That is the way AI is popular now. Now if you see as an whole and soul, what are the things the AI works for? Okay, so it works for the data management, decision support, deployment of the different codes. It used for the forecasting. We have a lot of forecasting thing combining to come up with it. May be a weather forecasting, like it will rain or not, or it may be like a simple share market forecasting, that yes, we will have some good amount in the future or not. So we have a lot of things going in this, in forecasting and optimization. Obviously, natural language processing, which is called as NLP, there also a huge demand is there. Okay, so the demand is very huge. People are just jumping in with the NLP, and that's why you have a lot many things like a chatbot and all that things, which I have mentioned in last webinar. Those who have seen that, because we will have an exam at the last, where the question from there also will be there. So if you see that there are a lot of applications available in the market on artificial intelligence. The second thing, you don't think like AI, which you will learn as a whole. It is not a very simple task. You learn it as in break. You make your foundation good with the Python language, with the Python data analyst skill. When you have the foundation good, then you jump on to some expertise level according to your branch, and then you can think of AI. It cannot be an AI which is learned within 1 month or 2 months. You cannot. Yes, you can make your foundation within 2 months. You can practice for next 6 months. So that is the way you can think of doing a good job in the future. There are machine learning, computer vision, visualization. Computer vision, that is also important, where you see the image and process on that. So when you see the image for processing, it is like you should understand what image you are looking at. Is it a small image, complicated image? And the deep learning coding, which we will also do, also has a very small example which we will utilize for reading the images. Okay, that's why the AI is so popular. Now when you talk about the first thing, the basically three divisions it has, that is the machine learning of deep learning part, then NLP, natural language processing, and the third one is computer vision. So what is this machine learning, deep learning consist of? It has a more compute power, lot of computation I can do. The larger data set it can consume, and that data set can be simple Excel sheet, or it may be as I said, complicated images or anything. Okay, so we can create more and more complex models out of that, which you can utilize and use the better and better algorithms. Currently there are a lot of algorithms in the market which you can utilize for this purpose, and then jump on to the deep learning side. Okay, so that is the way you can go ahead step by step to work on that. So machine learning is totally a booming field, and basically you understand it is totally maths behind that. Okay, so again, I will not say it is a maths of our maths 1, maths 2, or maths 3 in engineering. It is a part of it, some of the part of it with statistics and that. So that is the way you can work on that. The second thing which I said is the natural language processing, where natural language, when I say it, may be our language, Marathi, Hindi, English, or some other languages also, which we are trying to identify. So it requires a natural language processing. Understanding is first required because each language is based on some grammar. So grammar understanding is also important. Language interaction is also important. How everything gets interacted with, and then the new generation of languages, that is also a new era coming in. So people are trying to create the new languages out of that, and sometimes machines create their own, and that has happened currently. Means last year Facebook has one chatbot application, and where they found two of their nodes were started talking to each other, which is again an interesting thing, or maybe you can say something Hollywood movie is going on. And they shut down that project currently because the both the nodes which started talking to each other, they were in the cryptic language, so no one is about to hear anything. Okay, so that also has happened. So that is the thing currently going on. So this was about the natural language processing. The third one which we said is the forecasting and optimization. So when I say about forecasting, what we say is we are going to forecast something in the future. So what thing which we are going to happen in the future, that is the basic understanding of us. So in that case, what we can say, we can predict the target value on that. So that target value can be anything, weather condition, share market values, or any new scale out of that. It may have time series variability, because on which level I am measuring this, that is also important. And it also automate the process. Many processes automatically does this. Okay, and it is not a very simple task that you are there and you will get the idea. It requires a lot of things to go ahead with that. So still there are a lot of I can say the research area there. So those who think they can have some PhD or something in this, so they can also go ahead with these areas, specifically machine learning, deep learning, or the computer vision. There are some optimization problems like account for possible actions, assimilate the trade-offs, define the critical constraint. So such kind of optimization actually works with lot of apps which we are using, like you have Zomato, Uber, Ola. They use this kind of optimization to handle the uncertainty, because many time you book something and it is not instant you get the cab out of that. They have to search some optimizing algorithm. Okay, so that is the third part. So our case was a deep learning. So we will focus now on what is the deep learning, how it is utilized, and once we have the idea of that, we will have a code on that. Okay, so the deep learning, as the name suggests, it is just an extension of your machine learning. Okay, so again the question may be, what is machine learning? So in a nutshell, machine learning is a kind of algorithm again which works with the concept of perceptron. Okay, so you can search on internet or something. This perceptron are nothing but the kind of nodes which getting some similarity with the neurons which we have having on our brain. So the neural network again has the name coming from the same, just like our brain is connected with lot of neurons, and once we get any signal, like someone say hi to us, that hi or the hi hand, both the things will go with our eyes and ears, that will grow inside our brain with multiple neurons, and another neuron then ask us to do the same thing, hi or hello. So that is the reaction. So reaction doesn't come instantly, right? It goes through our brain with multiple areas and then it comes. Okay. So it is not if someone says hi, we shall say bye. Okay, it is a hi again. So that is the way our brain works. So the neural network which currently are processed are on the same line how the brain works. Okay, and on that, if I go with the more and more understanding of what we have the deep learning network. That is the way how the deep learning name came into existence. So the most famous person for this deep learning and machine learning field is Andrew Nagy. Okay, or the NG. So Andrew Nagy is the chief scientist as Baidu Research formally founded the Google Brain that eventually resulted in production of deep learning technologies across a large number of Google services. So there was a very famous project called Google Brain. So always lot of brainy peoples were working there, and on that line they came up with this idea. So Andrew Nagy has a lot of videos also, you can just check on the YouTube or something. They are more cryptic, not easily understandable, but still you can try out to understand how he proposed all this model, and now there are a lot of people who are ready to talk about that. So he has spoken and written a lot about what deep learning is and is a good place to start with. In early talks on deep learning, Andrew described deep learning in the context of traditional artificial neural network. It is called ANN. So ANN is basically the starting point of how we can work with the neural network, and on that basis he came up with the idea of deep learning. Okay, so that is the word he coined in, and that's why the people are ready to hear that. Now, why this deep learning is coming popular and popular? So, how the data science techniques scale with amount of data. So, whatever the older learning algorithm we have, they have the limitation. So, as the amount of data will increase, at certain stage, yes, the performance will increase, but after that they don't have very good performance, and that is the problem because of their limitation. Maybe both the angles, it may be hardware limitation, or maybe programming or the software limitation, but the both the limitation put them at lower end, whereas deep learning is increasing rapidly. As the data increases, performance increases, and that is the positive correlation it have, and since it has a very positive correlation, the upper side is good. So for most flavors of the old generations of learning algorithms, performance will plateau means it will go flat as the data increases, whereas deep learning is the first class of algorithm that is scalable. Performance just keep getting better as you feed them more data. So deep learning you can correlate with our brain, so we can say as our experience increases of anything, we get better and better in that thing, right? That happens like sports. In the start I may not know very good way of doing a volleyball thing, but as I get more and more involved in that, if I play volleyball every day and I get the tricks and tactics of these things, my brain will be ready then to accept how I can catch the ball, or I can play it back, or how I can have the service very well so no one can pick up all the rules also. So that is the learning process. So that means as the data we consume more and more, I get very well in volleyball. The same thing happens with the deep learning. So now in the future you may have something like a Hollywood movies. Okay, so that may happen, that is the future, you can say. And that deep learning, as they consume more and more data, they become more and more well trained, they provide more and more good result. And that's why that thing is happening is the deep learning models are very good for the future use also. So when I talk about the deep learning or the neural network, the important property that why these results get better and better, because they get better with more data, bigger models. So the bigger models is not the size it makes, it's the way how it handles the data, and more computation. Okay, so all these things are going together to make it popular among everyone. Okay, so better algorithm, new insight, and improved technique always help too. So and currently, as I said, there are a lot of research going on, and that's why everyone is going in this direction to have a deep learning model with them. Okay, so that is the current thing happening. So, what was the problem with the old back propagation method which we started? Okay, so one of the speaker has provided it very well. So we all drew the wrong conclusions about what why it failed. The real reasons were because that time there is a big liu time. You will see if, from net or something. If I plot how neural network has propagated, at one space you will find out there is a complete silence. People were moving into some other directions. Okay, SVM was introduced that time, and it was a nearly 10 to 15 years of silence. So, what was that silence for? Our labeled data sets were thousands of times too small. So, the condition was we were thinking of very small data to use for this purpose. The computers were millions of time too slow. Obviously that time the slow computers were there. Just you can say about the RAM. So when I was in engineering, that time of 2002 and 2003, 1 GB of RAM was also sufficient, or very high, means 512 MB was what I got in my desktop. So 1 GB is what the person will be genius. So now 1 GB is nothing, means you have at least 8 GB, or say 16 GB or 64 GB is RAM. So the speeds has been increased rapidly. We initialize the weights in a stupid way, so that is also the problem. The weights when we talk about is the neural network weights, which has to be adjusted. We are not going in the mathematical direction, but that is the way how it is used. And we use the wrong type of non-linearity. When you deal with the images or all other things, they are totally non-linear. So when you deal with such non-linear thing, the way of understanding is very different. Okay, so you should go ahead very properly to go with how the things are happening currently or not. Okay, so that is also important. It is not just the direct task that you are here and you will start working on that. You have to go with multiple adjustment of these weights. Okay, so that is also there. The next thing is how this CNN, or we call it a deep learning model, works. So they are the steps which I have shown. In the traditional pattern recognition, which was the oldest one, fixed handcrafted feature extraction was there. Like if I want to identify this is a vintage car or a old car, I have something fixed like the colors or the size or maybe the tires feature. So that may be the things may be there, and we directly come to the classifier to classify. Then it was difficult as we have different angles of the images or something. So mainstream modern pattern recognition is an unsupervised mid-level features with feature extraction with mid-level feature. That means the whatever features we have, again we will try to divide them into part, but again it has the limitation. Whereas the deep learning representation are hierarchical and trained, so we have lot of levels now. So low level, mid level, high level, and a trainable classifier. And that's why as the layer increases, the computation time also increases, and that's why you need a more CPU line or RAM, and that is not sufficient. And that's why now those who do deep neural network, they have a GPUs or TPU attached to them, and that is the way it works. Okay, and that is the neural network is all about. So what are the most popular techniques which are used for this purpose? Okay, so although early approaches focus on greedy layer wise training and unsupervised methods like autoencoders, which was very famous, now it is going lower online. Modern state of the art deep learning is focused on training deep many layered neural network model using the BAP progression also. So now we have the combination. We have a many layer algorithms which has a lot of neural networks which will go in with the back propagation. So once we have a back propagation, lot of output will come up. So the most popular techniques currently used in the field of this deep learning are the multi-layer perceptron networks, which is actually having a multiple layers, and then it will use a convolution neural network, that is a CNN. Every one should talk about that. Very popular network and specifically used for image processing. It divides the image into pixels. Each pixel is consumed by different nodes, and each node then talk about how to work on. So that is a very popular network. And the CNN, which also we will write in our code, that will also a CNN, which we will see in the coding part also. There is another one, that is RNN, which is called as a long short term memory recurrent neural network, which is a concept of short term memory, but it is a short term memory for long time. Okay, so many short term memories it will keep, and it will use for most probably time series calculation. Okay, so these are the three most popular techniques generally used in the deep learning. Okay, so that is the important part everyone should know. Now let's try about our hand with the deep learning algorithm. So for that we will do a very small example, which is an handwritten digits identification using CNN network. Okay. So for that we will need to download the data set. We will train our model of the classification and then test our model with some kind of input, and that we will do live. And as I said, you also can do that at the same time. So I will just provide you the GitHub link. We have the Python Academy GitHub site. I will just provide you now. You do like that also, GitHub link, and From there you can download the code also. Okay, so let me share the link for that. So I will share on both the platforms. Currently Zoho is also going on, so let me share there first, and on our YouTube site. Okay, so I am sharing here also. So this is the link where I have kept the code, so all of you can download the code from there. It is on the same name of CNN. And for working with this, you have to put that code into Google Colab. Okay, so I will put that also here. What is Google Colab? It is uh, it is an IDE, that is called integrated development environment, which will be used to go with the coding of Python. Okay, so obviously I have written the code in Python only. I am from Python Academy, right? So I will write the code in Python, but R is also a good language that also you can try out in the future. So you just search on the internet for Google Colab. Your Gmail ID should be there to log in there, and you open this link directly there, or you can download and open there, or you can download to your Google Drive. Multiple options are available. You try out your own. Okay, I cannot explain all the things here because we have the limitation of time and everything, but I have said three things. You search Google Colab. I have put into the chat window. You have to log in with your Gmail to work with the code which I am going to provide. Third thing, the code which is on GitHub, you can download it, or you can connect directly with the Google Colab. Both the ways are available, whatever the way you want to work, so that file will open on your machine. Okay, so that is the thing should happen. So let me share the this one code now. So just give me a minute again. So let me share the code now. So those on Zoho platform can see the code now. Those on YouTube also can see the code now. So all of you are will be able to see the code. Just let me know if you are facing any problem there. So code is open on both the platforms. Now let me go through the code. Okay, so as I said, I also log in with the Google Colab and I am opening the code there. So you have to log in with there, and at the same time when I am explaining this thing, you can also run the code. That is the way I have created, so no problem. Google Colab is the thing where Python and related all the packages of data analysis, machine learning or deep learning are already installed. It is just like a cloud computer they have provided, so it is a very easy to write code there rather than having your machine set up and all that thing. In the future, if you are interested in this thing, you can go ahead with the go ahead with the GPU and all that things, which also you can buy in and one can work on that. So let's start and talk about the code. So the GitHub is the link which I have shared with you. The code start from here. Okay, so the first thing first, I will import TensorFlow as an TF, as an alias name. So what is this TensorFlow? TensorFlow is a deep learning library provided by Google itself to you. It is totally free. Anyone can use that, and that is the best thing. So, and they have again a lot of details. What is tensor and all that things. Okay, again I cannot go in detail of that, but that TensorFlow you can have directly. A lot of rains is going on, so hope everything goes fine without any interruption. So the TensorFlow is the library which is used for the deep learning purpose, and that is the way we are going to use it. So through deep learning or through TensorFlow, we will need some of the related examples or the packages. So what are they? So these are the example of loading and plotting the MNIST dataset. Okay, so MNIST is a number dataset which is basically consist of lot of images of digits. So I will just show you. These kinds of handwritten digits are available in the image format. So a lot of images are there. Okay, now what we are going to do, we will create a deep learning model with reading these different images, so that next time if I pass a new image like this one, my algorithm will tell this is a return to in English, or it is a return 0. And obviously there are various way to write 2. Okay, every people has like 6, and 6 itself has a slight difference here, and that will be there because each one has their own way of writing the code. So the example which we are going to solve in is what we will provide images which you can see here, and using these images screen is not clear. You check out your internet connection because it is going fine from my side. So this and you can download the code also. As I said, it is available, you just download it, you will get the idea. So we will use this image to create our CNN model at first, and once we create this CNN model, we will use 2 3 images from here itself, and our model will automatically tell what is the digit in that, and that is a common example we are trying to solve using CNN. So in future, if someone has written multiple digits, just I will scan it through my mobile, I will have multiple images inside that, and you can have a CNN which identify what it is written. I have taken one teachable machine also. That is also a very good project from Google. So do check that. Okay, so that's why I said you do subscribe to our YouTube channel. There are a lot of seminars with different topic. Maybe in the future we can have a Raspberry Pi also, that may be added. So do go ahead with this futuristic thing, because rather than creating some old project in your college, same thing, some Android app and some web application, you try out this latest thing, because lot of things has been provided to you, and as a student you may have more privilege. Okay, so that also you can check it out. So going back to the problem which we are solving here, these are the digits which we are going to solve in. So for that purpose, what I have done is I have imported Keras dataset library. So Keras is again a part of neural network creator library. So this library automatically provides the neural network. You don't have to create it. Yes, you have to train it, and it consumes some of your time. So that is the way Keras is used. Matplotlib is the plotting library. For that, this plot has been generated. Okay. Again, I cannot explain every Python code, but I will give a generalized idea. Then whatever the data set which we are going to load using the MNIST, that is divided into two parts: training data set and test data set. So this training data set will be used to create our model, and test data set will be used to test some of the images to identify what its number is. Okay, the next thing is just the plotting purpose I have used, and this is the plotting which has been shown. Okay, so that is the way the inputs has been provided which has to be used. Okay, now how the algorithm works, it is also easy because it is available here. Okay, it is not always that easy, you have to do a lot of pre-processing and everything, which we are just skipping considering data is very fine. Note that the images are arrays of grayscale pixel data. So the again each image is divided as a grayscale with where is the black spot, where is the white spot, where is the black spot, where is the white, and so on. We must add a channel dimension to the data before we can use the images as input to the model. So that is also required to start with. We cannot directly go with. The reason that CNN models expect images in a channel last format, that is each example to the network has dimensions, rows, columns, and channel. That is the three way we pass the input. So what three kinds of input is: how many pixel rows are there, how many pixel columns are there, and in grayscale is black and white shade, but how many channels are there. So that are the three things we will pass. So for this purpose, multiple packages are again required from Keras sub library. So all of them are I have just imported. Okay, so import, all of them are imported. Then I have load the data which is in xtrain ytrain format, and I am using reshaping of the data to have a single channel, because we have converted into grayscale. If it consists of two colors, three colors, number of channels need to be increased. Okay, and then our CNN will become more dense, more complicated. So that complication may increase as our CNN model increases. Okay, so that is also required. So we will not directly add the model, but that is the way the model will go. Okay, how to download the code in Git? So there will be on upper side there will be an download option. I'm sorry, or you can just open the collab, and there is an option to open a file from GitHub. So there you put the link. Okay, so you go ahead on your own way. or you search some net to download. Okay, so we will not have a GitHub session. That also I can add in the future, because that is also interesting. GitHub is interesting. So going back to our problem statement, we have extend and extend ready, whose shape which has the 10,000 comma means what, we have nearly 10,000 images available. Sorry for that. Now we will use the shape of the input images. So shape it tells how many rows, how many columns into n classes. So n classes is the actual variable, which if I print, it prints tens. Means out of all the images, we have to do the classification into 10 categories. What are these 10 categories? A number 0, a number 1, a number 2, and up to number 9. So there are 10 categories. So that is the class we have defined, and we are changing it into the float, so the application can be easy. Okay, now here actually you see the model of the code which runs for the CNN. Here the CNN is built up again. You may see a lot of things, and what is happening no one will know, because obviously you are very new to them. Those who have some idea can identify, okay, see, this is a max pool which we are doing. Okay, this is a dense neural network layer I am adding. So basically here I am adding multiple layers, because neural network is a dense neural network, which not the neural network, deep learning network is a dense neural network which consists of multiple nodes, just like our brain. Multiple nodes, this will identify one thing, this will identify second thing, third thing, fourth thing. So that is the way is there, and these all topics are interesting to learn. If you have interest, you can go ahead with the one by one step on that. Okay, so once you use on this purpose how to utilize that, then you can use the define loss and optimizer using the compile method. So how we can increase the weights of the neural network, that will be done with the compile method. And this is the last method which fit the model with xtrain and ytrain. So in this case, and which consumes some time of this. Okay, so as you start running this code one by one, this step will take nearly 5 minutes, because it will consume that 10,000 images, will identify the rows and columns of pixels, gray shades, and on that it will start dividing, classifying its weight on the basis of obviously weight. What is the type of 0, what is the type of 1, what is the type of 2, and so on. So when I use model.compile, it is what we are sorry, model.fit, it is what we are creating a model here. Okay, so it is not we are starting predicting, it is not the prediction, it is the creation of deep learning model or creation of CNN network using the input, some of the input which we already know. So when you create the model, basically the weights on each lines get attached or get detached. Okay, whatever the things happen. Now once we have, we can check the accuracy of model. So the evaluate is the function available which gives us now 0.98% accuracy. What that means, in the future if I read any image and use my model on that, I can say with the 98% accuracy that this is this digit, like this is a 6 digit, this is a 5 digit, on the basis of 98% accuracy, because my model is that much. Again, 98 is very high in actual industry. If you start working on this, you will achieve nearly 80%, 81%. That is sufficient. Okay, don't run for more accuracy, otherwise model fails sometime, because there is a limitation. So once we have the accuracy, our model is ready. So I just test for the first image from the text, and it shows me it is a 7 digit. Okay, so I am just passing this 7 as an input, and you can see I have drawn it in a bigger sense, so you get how the pixels are counted. Now once I pass this to my model as model predict x test, and then I print the output of that. So these are the output for 10 classes. Okay, so what do you mean by that 10 classes? Each class, that is each neuron in my deep learning, will provide some values. So you see all the values where are very less, e to the power minus 10, that means 0.00000. That is a very big value, not a very big, very small value. Out of that, if you check this one, which comes out to be nearly 1, which is 9.999 into e to the power minus 1, that is nearly 1, right? That is 1.0, and its position is 1, sorry, starting class with 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that means if I apply the argument max function, which argument has the max value, I get the seventh index. And that means the image which I am passing as an input has been identified correctly as 7. So our model which we created is working very fine, and that shows that it is identifying what is the input. So that is also interesting. So it got the idea what the input is, and it has shown that also. So you can see here how the model has ran successfully and you got the answer. So on some more inputs I have also tried, like I am passing five inputs with the values 7, 2, 1, 0, and 4. So first I am showing what are the inputs I am passing to my model, and then I am running my model for the same input, and it gives the value, and you can compare. Yes, first has been identified 7, 2, 1, 0, and 4. There may be chances in the future for some model it may give some wrong answer, because in the start itself we have said it is not 100% model, it is a 98% accurate. So obviously at one point it will give a lesser effect. So that is the way how I can understand the deep learning work, how the basic idea behind that, and how we can apply the CNN, that is the convolution neural network, to identify the images of handwritten digit. Okay, so that was the simplest example. And as I said, whole example you can run in Colab and you can see the result yourself. So you may see it is very easy. Best it is easy, but once you start learning each line by line, from coding point of view, from mathematical point of view, from theoretical point of view, you will find out there are a lot of things I can do. Like what happens if I have to identify this as a single one? What happens if it is written in different? And that is happening means when you log into some other website, you have the captcha and all this. Why this happening? That is the reason why it's happened, because you get the output in that sense. Okay, so that was supposed to be a deep learning model which we are going which we have discussed just now. So going back to again the ppts, so just let me share the ppt again. So just wait for a minute. Let me share it. Okay, so back to ppt. Let me share on YouTube side also. So this was the example and a simple way of understanding what is the AI is, what is the deep learning in that, and then how to utilize that deep learning using ANN. Okay, so that are the things we have been trying out. Okay, so for that we have downloaded the data set, which was the handwritten digits. Then we have tried to use it using the TensorFlow. Okay, again we have a very heavy thing, TensorFlow, which needs a lot of time to learn with this, but it is easy. Okay, so that completes the today's session part. So sir will have some words also. So before that I will also provide some information about my academy. So let me have that, and then I will hand over to sir. I think sir will join in soon. Okay, so that was the coding part. Now talking about the academy, basically our academy is Anup Kelkar's Python Academy, currently situated in Nagpur, and we are providing three kinds of delivery modes for the understanding of the data analytics with Python. That is a single course we provide. We don't have multiple fancy courses like AI is also there, machine learning is also there, Python is there. No, we have a basic course which makes your foundation good. So obviously because of the COVID, classroom is under not process, but we have online and self-paced instructor videos, where in online you can go ahead with the same one-to-one interaction. I will be there as an instruction, or you have the self-recorded videos which you can see as per your time. Okay, so both ways of things are available at our academy. The course which we have been designed is a pro degree program which consists of the Python environment setup and essential, where Python has a basic thing. It has the data analytics with Python, that is the second part, which comes with the different ideas of how we can use the different packages in Python like NumPy, Pandas, and other related. We have the advanced data science concept where we deal with the more and more conceptual ideas about the machine learning and the stuff. Our programming is also added as an introduction, and the elective and job readiness. Okay, so these are the things we provide on our academy. Okay, so before stopping all this, I will suggest that do subscribe to our channel. That is a YouTube channel. I have already shared the link, and you will definitely like all the videos there. Okay. So thanks for joining this session.